All right, guys, I am back. All right, so I just clarified what I believe a protective style definition is. And based on that definition, that frees us up finally on how we protect our hair. Okay, so I may have to use another term for a while just so that I can feel free of that term. I don't want to be locked into the words protective style, so I'm going to just come up with some other thing to call this. It is protecting your hair. Okay, just taking care and protecting your hair. Protecting your hair through styling or something. I don't know. I'm going to come up with something because I just need my mind to undo that. Because as soon as I hear that, I go straight to weaves and braids, and it's just we've been programmed almost. So, how about the P5 protective style definition? P5 protective style definition is what I'm going to call it. And we're going to stick to the definition. That definition will free you up to do what you believe is protecting your hair. Now, how do we know if our hair is being protected? Well, that's the definition. And remember, why are we doing this? Because of the dry brittleness. We are combating dry brittleness that breaks. For many reasons, our hair has dry and brittleness, and we are combating that. And we are separating our hair so that it doesn't do the things that we love our kinks and curls, but there's a sweet spot where it can be managed where we don't lose our kinks and curls. And that's where we want to be, right? We want to stay in that place where we're keeping our beautiful, healthy, kinky curls, but we're not letting them take over so much that we lose them and we lose the ends and we don't retain length. And that's what I want to propose. I will come up with a whole new definition because that's more important than just protective styling. It is more important that we find that sweet spot. So this is what I've done. This is my updated wash and go trial and error that I asked you to do for October. This is October 18th, so I'm basically in the middle of the month. I don't know if you've been watching my hair, but if you look at it, now the sun's so strong, it is a lot more defined than my last video. Have you noticed that? Okay. My last few videos, I was trying something new for my winter wash and go. The sun's really strong. And so I want to tell you how that worked out and what I ended up doing, and it was based on the principles that I just said for the first video and for this one. So first thing I want to show you is with my regimen and my wash and go that I did before, I decided I wanted to cut my hair, remember? Right? Well, this is all that came out since, oh gosh, that sun is no joke. This is all that came out since, when was it? Since, was it May? Oh, July. It was July when I cut my hair last. Look at that. That's barely anything. Okay? This is all just single strand knots that came out of my hair since July. Okay? And the wash and go routine and the wash day routine that kept my hair that healthy is I will put the link above, okay, so that you can see what I did. Okay? Why is that important? Because, man, I can't take this sun. Because instead of just looking at the definition, protect style, let's think of why we're doing it. This is why we're doing it. We're trying not to have too much of this going on in our hands. We are trying not to lose ends. And if that worked that well, where that's the only single strand knots I took off, then I'm doing something right. That's how you know, okay? Now, I started my winter wash and go routine. I added some things to my winter wash and go. I'm not sure what I'm going to do to deal with this sun. So I'm just going to back up a tad bit. Okay, there. Maybe that'll help. Okay, so I added some things. I'll talk about what I took in my body in a minute. But remember, what I decided I was going to do is I was going to start a new wash and go regimen. So this is what I want to show you. I wanted you to see how much hair I was losing through shedding and breakage in a week. And I have to tell you, like as though this is a science experiment, it just so happened that I was using this new regimen when I did it. This is what I lost in a week. This is breakage and shedding. Every single thing I lost in a full week. Okay, so I'm hoping that you tell me if you think that's a lot or not. That's not on the YouTube enough either. We don't know what a lot is, what a little bit is, what normal is, or anything. That's how much hair I lost in a week doing my regular routine and then adding my winter regimen. Now, the reason why I lost this much is because I was tired and I was going fast sometimes, okay? I probably could have lost even less than this because I have lost less than this. And I just realized why I even lost this much, which is really not a whole lot, really, if you really think about it. But that means I have a really good routine, okay? I don't think that's a lot of hair. And let me just see if I can take it out so you can really see how thick it is. So you see the thickness of it. It's gooey because I was doing it while I did the whatever conditioning, whatever I did, whatever I was doing. If I was doing my clay, if I was doing whatever steps I was doing, I would see what came out and I would put it in that little jar thing. So this is all of the hair that I lost in a full week, okay? That is not a lot of hair. I'm gonna keep it real with you. That is not a lot of hair. For a full week, that's not bad. That means my regimen and my routine is probably going well. I am basically retaining length for the most part. This is what I did. I used my Giovanni, I did my deep conditioner, did my Giovanni, and I tried different things. I was trying different things. So remember, we're trying it and error. I already have my routine, but I just needed to I need to learn how these new things would work with my regimen, my routine. So I did my thing that I normally do in the shower. I took I did my full wash day and I was done with my deep conditioner, and then I put a little of deep conditioner of the Giovanni, and I just took all my vitamins. And so I rinsed it out and put cool water, and then I went in and I started that next regimen, which I'm going to tell you, or I rinsed it out with hot water. I tried that a certain day, and then I went on to the new routine, which I'm going to show you. Or I didn't rinse all of it out. I left a tiny bit in there, and then I did this. So I tried different things in the last 2 weeks, like I told you to do, okay? And I'll tell you, when I washed it with cool water, I think I like that. I can't tell. But I ended up changing my mind and saying, because we have low porosity hair, those who have low porosity hair, I decided that I was going to not put the cold water in it too early, because I still had all these layers I had to put in there, and I knew it wasn't going to go into my hair shaft if I closed it so early. So I thought, you know what, even though that might be a good idea to do cold water in the shower, but I got so many layers I'm doing afterwards, is it really working, or is it just sitting on top of my hair? So I changed that like within part of the week, okay? Okay, so the things that I added to my regimen was I did this honey, 2 tablespoons of honey, and like 1/3 cup of water, and 2 pumps of shea oil, 2 pumps of castor oil, and 1 big pump of my moringa oil. Not the herb, but not the capsule, but there's an actual, I think it's considered an oil. And I just kind of but it was mostly water and honey. That was what I decided as my rinse. Oh, let me go back. When I first started in the beginning of the challenge, I said, I can't wait to do tea rinses. So if you're asking about my tea rinses, so the Earl Grey black tea, that doesn't work for my hair. It's too hard on my hair, and I didn't like how it felt. So I stopped it, and that's what made me do the honey, because I saw that somewhere on YouTube where someone was doing it. I was like, oh my goodness, I love honey. I love taking in honey. I love everything. God was telling me to use honey in my conditioner, as you know. So I thought, honey can't hurt. You know, that's what the Lord was telling me to do anyway. So I've liked what honey does for my hair. So this is a keeper until I see otherwise, because after my deep conditioning, if I put this in there, apparently honey draws moisture into your hair from the air, from the atmosphere. So yes, honey's a yes. So that came after my deep conditioning. Then I didn't know which to put first. So I played around with my layering. just a little recap. I took my shea butter, okay? I don't have the container, so I'll just show you the box. This is the box of it. And what's in here? Is something in here? Anyway, I'll look at it later. Anyway, I took that. It was really thick, and I added olive oil, grapeseed oil, and my hair growth oil. Okay, and I just try to use as much. The first time I did this, it took the first week. It was very thin, and I put a lot of oil, so it was very thin. It was like a thicker oil. Second time, I let it get a little thicker because I'm curious. I want to know if my hair can take it. And so I'll tell you how that is. I kept my oil as my sealant. And then I did the Not Today, Kinky Curly Not Today. I was really curious about if that could help my curls. So I was like, okay, how do I layer this? So I went back and forth with the shower thing, but let's say I ended up saying, no, I'm not doing cold water in the shower. I'm going to do the cold water before I do my last thing, which is, because you got to put a lot of water in your hair before you put this Kinky Curly Curling Custard on. So I said, since I got to put water on, then that's when I'll put the cold water, okay? So I hope this is making sense to any of you. If you are a wash and go girl, you kind of know what I'm talking about. So I'm like layering. So I guess this should go first. That's what I decided, and I kept that. And I liked that. Then I was like, okay, do I put this on the, it only was on the ends. I only put the shea butter oil mix, I'm going to call it. I didn't do a whipped one. I just did an oil mix. I did that on my ends for the whole 2 weeks. This is what that looks like. It's green because it has my growth oil in it. So I put that on my ends. I love the way it felt when it was on my ends. It felt so great. For the whole 2 weeks I did it. It was lighter the first week. The second week I had it thicker, which is this one. And I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this in first. Then I'm going to put this in. And then I put this in to seal that in. And then I put this on top. And then I did everything else. And that seemed weird. So the last few days, what I've done was I put, of the 2 weeks that is, I put this in first, which I'm going to keep. I like it. I really love it. Then I said, wait a minute. This is a leave-in. So this has moisture. So moisture, moisture. Let's do that together. So I started doing that. Then I said, well, let me put that on the ends. And then I'll seal everything. So I tried that. Then I ended up saying, all right, wait a minute. This is the moisture, so I'm going to do that. Remember, we're learning on our own. We don't got like somebody that's telling us this, right? If anything, I'm the one telling y'all this stuff. Not everybody's telling you how to layer things out there. So this is what I did. This is, by the way, this is a keeper, everybody. If anybody wants to try it, this is a keeper right out of the shower, okay? Definitely the honey rinse is great. It probably should be refrigerated, by the way. I haven't been refrigerating it because it goes fast. So do little pieces, little bits of it. Let it only last like 3 days. Don't leave it for more than 3 days because I can tell it's starting to get like, because of that water sitting. Anyway, if you know better, definitely post. If you've had another experience, you think it should be even less than that. I just think 2 to 3 days is enough for water to be sitting because even my water bottles, I like room temperature and I let them sit for, they can sit for a little while. And even if they're open, they can sit for a day or two. So this is what I ended up doing. So if anybody wants to use this, definitely do this. I would suggest. Okay, this is what I liked the most. I come out of the shower, I rinse out my, whatever conditioner I had with warm water if you're low porosity. Come out, and then I saturate it with this. I stopped actually towel drying my hair, even t-shirt drying my hair. I started, because my hair can do it, because it's not very thick. I just started doing it with my hands more. And just adding this to that wetness. And just squeezing out any excess water or whatever. And you can just kind of damp it a little bit. Then put this on. Because this is your, your leave-in. Let this be your leave-in. And so you got this both. You can even put it together if you need to. And after you put your leave-in in, then you put your sealant. Seal all that in, right? And this is some extra stuff. This is if it needs be. So if it's really brittle cold out, and it's really bad out, and you really think your ends need it, then you put this on. You don't just put it on just to put it on. Put it on as needed, okay? Only you and your hair knows that, okay? It feels so good to put on. You feel like you're doing something so great for your hair when you put this on your hair. Oh, I like I personally love the way my hair felt putting it in, and I had to separate each part and do everything and all that stuff. Then I saturated the water, which kind of washes off some of that extra oils that you use. Now remember, don't use your growth oil like me if you don't think you should be wasting it on that. You can use any sealant. Remember, avocado oil, jojoba oil. Use your sealant oil, one oil. I just choose to use this because I like it. I love my growth oil. I like it to be on everything. That's my Ayurvedic system for me. So I did my layers. I think you're following me, right? So let's say after all my trial and error, I ended up deciding this comes in first, right after the shower, after rinsing out my deep conditioner. Then put this on top. Really get that in, okay? Really work that in your hair. Section by section. Work this in your hair. Detangle it, all that good stuff. Then seal it, especially your ends, with your sealant oil, not necessarily what I use. And then needs basis, put this on. Now, if you have thick hair, you can probably do it more. Needs basis. You decide. You have to go through your trial and error with this. And the way you'll know if this is working, it'll depend on how much you're breaking. Test it and save your hairs as you're doing all this stuff because you're raking through your hair with it. Test to see how much you're losing when you do it, because if it's too thick or whatever. Then I drench it with water, cold water finally, because that's what I used to do, and I'm back to that. I like that better. Now I'm ready to seal everything with the cold water because I have the low porosity hair. And then I put this on and all that gooky, it's gooked everywhere. So after I do that, then I make sure I rake it through, do my raking thing that I told you before, everywhere in my little parts. And then I do a semi-doobie, like it's just my little thing. It's not even a doobie. It's nothing you know. You know how when you do your stuff that you do and nobody else knows you're doing it. It could be like, you know what I mean? It could be like ghetto style. You just do what you want to do. That's what I do. It's nothing so fancy or special. It's something that I never would show a person because it's just what I do. But if you insist on seeing how I do it, I will definitely show you how I do it. But it's similar to the way I did it before when I used to put this up, but now I do it a little differently because my hair is growing longer and I'm doing this style now. So it's a different kind of pull back, push back, and everything. It's semi-doobie. Okay, that's how I'm stretching it. Okay, what do I think of all this? This is what I think of it. This looks good, doesn't it? This is what I used to do. I ended up having to not do these. I took this out of it. I'm not going to be using these. I think you should try and use it though, because I think they're wonderful. I really do. Remember, it's my hair. My hair has to tell me what it likes. And not only that, but going back to the tape where I'm talking about the definition of protective styling and how that should be what guides you, that's what I decided. I decided that this is not giving me those 5 things. It is not giving me what I need to protect and take care of my hair. I will tell you why in a second. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I noticed my hair was very moist. The days were unusually moist the past 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of October where I live. Extremely moist. Oh, it was feeling so great. My hair got puffier. Wasn't as defined as it is now. Not at all as defined. If you look at the last video that I did, the last few videos, you'll see that my hair is less defined. It had more shrinkage, but it looked fuller. And when you have fine hair like me, something's dripping. Oh, I'm like, am I seeing things? Yeah, my little thing is dripping at me here. This thing is dripping. Okay, just wanted to catch it before I put something under it. Anyway, so I made a decision based on that definition I said, and based on my lifestyle, my joy, my holistic everything. It was fun. A person with fine hair like I do. My fine hair, see that? It was so much fun to see my hair full. It was just a nice feeling. And the first week I was like, ooh, look at my hair, so full. It was more shrunken, but it was like full and it looked so nice and it had a frizz to it. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this frizz. You know, it's kind of cute. So then the second week came, but no, from the beginning, I noticed more single strand knots. I was like, I just cut my hair. How could I have this? What's going on? Like right after I cut those single strand knots out, I started noticing a few. But I was in denial because I was just like, oh, that's impossible. My hair is doing so well. Tuck that in the back of my head, right? So then the second week comes. This is like the last week. And then I'm like, I had to go on audition, and I wanted to get my hair looking real cute. And then I looked at an old video of when I did that video on what was that video? It was a video on the 5Ps and the 3PL, you know? And I was like, wow, my hair's so shiny and beautiful. And I'm just like, so I looked in the mirror, I was like, am I losing my shine? Am I losing my definition? Am I losing it? I was like, what am I doing wrong? So I thought, something's different going on with my hair. I know y'all must have noticed it. So then I was thinking, man, I love this stuff. And I love what I've seen other people do it, and you know, I love it. So what I should do is, I should just take this out and leave this in. But I loved what my hair looked like so much that I'm going back to what I did before, and I'm only gonna have this there. That's gonna be the only thing I'm gonna add to my winter wash and go for now. Because I didn't like the way it looked, and that's for my joy, and it matters. Your joy matters. I want to be joyful. I want to feel good about myself. I want to feel happy and feel good and confident. And you know, I have to go on auditions, and it's just gonna show if I'm not confident. So that's the first thing. Then I was like, is it making my hair so moist that it's not defined? Is this not helping that part that needs to be defined? We need definition. We need to be keeping it casted and separate. Separate means defined. It needs to be defined. So I said the word separate so that could cover any style you use. But under the separate one means for wash and goes, defined. Does that make sense? So I just say the word, I'm trying to use a general word called separate, because you may want to use a twist out to do that separateness. Or you want to do something different to make that separateness, to achieve what that separateness is. As a wash and go, that would mean definition. So the moisture that this gave me, I believe this too, it didn't give me my definition like this does. Now, I thought I was gonna love that because it felt softer and it felt moist and I loved the way it was feeling, but it was giving me single strand knots. Isn't that something? And this is harder. Like I could feel the cast more, you know? But look at the definition. It's doing the thing that I wish I can get closer because of the sun is making it worse. Look at that. Everything's defined. That means my hair is safe and is secure and it is protected. So my hair is protected like this, and it even looks better. I think my hair looks better like this. It shakes. It's taking care of so many things. Taking this out covered my mind, my body, and my spirit, because I feel happier with this definition, the sheen. I have to deal with the fact that I have fine hair and it looks a little stringy sometimes, but throughout the day, the moisture shrinks it back up and gives it the fullness. So I'm gonna have to deal with that. It's a little more dry, crunchier, because it has a cast and it has that covering, that coating that we need. So look, we gotta balance all this stuff. I can't have that full and also have that coating and that separateness and that stretch. So it's like that sweet spot. So we're going to be finding that, okay? So I say all that to say that my update and what I'm keeping is I love my honey rinse with my 3 pumps in there. It was in there and it still looks this good. So I'm keeping this. I will not be using shea butter. Probably at all. The only time I would use this is if I was going to put it in a twist or a different type of protective style, which actually has my hair in and covered. That is what I would use for shea butter. Even the mix, I'm not using it anymore. Not if I'm going to use a wash and go. If I don't use a wash and go and I use another form of protective styles, I will use it because it's really great. But it doesn't allow for my hair to do what it does. I think it works against the gel. And I don't know if, I'm going to tell you, without the shea and with this, maybe that would have worked, but I'm too impatient to really go another week with this. I know this worked by itself, so it's not worth it to me to force myself to add this when I love my deep conditioning Giovanni anyway. So I'm back to my original regimen, only adding this after I'm out of the shower. So now what I do is So that saves me this money because I don't have to buy this now. And it saves me the shea butter and my oils having to be used for other things or whatever. So that's the thing. So this is my regimen. I do my regular regimen. When I get to the part of the deep conditioning, I'm in the shower. I'm still keeping that warm to hot water. The truth is I love hot water, so I am using basically hot water. So you can comment what you think of that, but I've been doing it and it's fine. So I put the conditioner in my hair and I don't wash it all out. I'm doing what my daughter does. She's never cut her hair in 3 years. I'm going to do her pictures when later on when I have a chance. So it's working for her. So I don't wash out my deep conditioner. I don't wash it all out. That's what I've been doing that made it so that all I had to do was cut out this little bit of hair. I've been doing that the whole time, and that's all I cut out since July. It is October. From July to October 1st, that's all I had to cut out of my hair. So so basically, guys, if you are following my routine and your hair is like mine, more than likely you've got a really good routine. Keep doing it. If you have thicker hair and you're not going to be doing wash and goes, then shea butter is probably perfect. And if you want to try, you tell me. If you don't use the shea butter, tell me how this both works together without the shea butter. I'm not going to do it. It's like not necessary. I don't need it. When the winter comes, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to start doing it now because it just started getting cold. What I may come back on here and tell you is that I won't be using the black teas. What I will add to this, and I'm not going to use 2 different rinses. So I'm going to keep my honey, and I might add chamomile tea or green tea to this once in a while for strengthening. This is what I noticed, guys. I noticed that I do my routine twice a week. That's with strengtheners. I do a lot, okay? This got so much strengthening in it. I think I'm good. I don't think I really need to add much for the winter. I think I was getting all excited about, oh my gosh, I gotta get ready for the winter. But I'm doing well. I think you just use your growth oil on your ends, Shea butter is not necessary for me. But please do your due diligence like I did. Go through that whole thing like I did. And the way you're going to know is based on this. Now, this is the interesting thing. I got this much out using the shea butter. So I would probably have had less because it is thick at my ends. So I know I would have had less. That's another reason why I'm not going to use it. So keeping those 5 things in mind, that's why I'm making the decisions that I'm making. I want to moisturize my hair. Yes, it does that, which I love. And this probably was doing it. I can't tell because I do so much moisturizing. So I just love the fact that it was in there, I'm not sure what it did because it has so many things. So I can't really give a perfect scientific, on that. So moisturizing my hair. Yes, the shea butter. So it's got to fit all your things, And it did that. Moisturizing, sealing. Yeah, it's sealed. And so do my oils. So the oil stays in there because it seals. So that's a keep. This is a keeper because it moisturizes. Yes. After moisturizes, seals. Separate. No. This and this did not separate my hair. That's why it gets kicked out. Because if I don't separate my hair will kink up. It will coil around itself and it will break. And it's not worth it for me. I can find moisture another way. And that's what I want you to learn about your hair. Is that there's so many products that do the same things that even though it's a great product, if it does some of the wrong things for my hair that undoes the good, I'll find something else that does that. That's what people are doing with coconut oil. It's like some people can't do coconut oil because it's too strengthening and it makes the hair feel stringy and straw-like. So what coconut oil does, they'll just find another product that does the same thing. Same thing with cassia and henna. Some people don't like the fact that henna colors their hair. So they use cassia. That's what Curly Proverbs has shared with us. Because that does the same stuff to strengthen your hair without the dyeing. I'm not sure if there's one that's better than the other, but that was a great thing to substitute it. So this is wonderful. But for my hair, it makes it too frizzy and it increases my single strand knots. That's what it does for me. It makes it frizzy. It does not allow it to separate like I need it to. So I cannot use this, and I will not be using that unless I have braids or twists or something that will force it to be separate. That's when I will use those, because I love the way it feels. I love shea butter. I just love the way it feels. This, I don't need it. Not at all. This does fine by itself. So, for my fine hair. So what I'm doing is the deep conditioning. I'm rinsing most of it out, but leaving a lot of it in. I love the Giovanni deep condition. Silk deep, I don't even know what it's called exactly, but I bought it in bulk. I ended up buying 4 of them on Amazon because there's not much in the bottle. But I just saved myself about $11 something because I ain't going to be using this. There you go. The shea butter lasts for a long time, but I won't have to replenish that. Honey, I always have in the house. You know, I'm always have my honey. And, you know, I'm going to spend the time and money, energy on the oil. Now, the good thing about the oil is that you can just use a few less. You don't have to use, I don't have to use sesame oil. That's just added in there. I don't have to use moringa. I don't have to use maca. I don't have to use, so you know what I mean? So if I have a tight month and I can't afford some things and I'm out, I got the main stuff, the rosemary, the castor oil, the castor oil, rosemary, peppermint, henna, you know, you put the henna in there, the aloe vera powder, the rosemary powder. Just pick the main things and get yourself a very inexpensive growth oil. I'm new, I'm excited, think about it. And so I'm just like, everything I learned, I'm putting up in here, you know. And just remember, when you're first starting to do your hair, you're repairing it. So come in strong, repairing it. Then eventually you can taper out. You'll get used to it and you'll just be like, oh, my hair will be fine. I know what works. I know the main ingredients that are really making the difference in my hair. As long as I got those things in, I don't have to buy every single ingredient that Curly Proverbs has or Patrice has. I can get the ones that I know will be beneficial for my scalp and my ends just good enough. There's lots of ways of doing it. You don't have to have all those extra things. If that makes any sense. Make sure you have your rosemary oil in there, your castor oil in there, your peppermint oil in there. And you need a henna blend if you want that strengthening. So you want to at least be getting, it's not expensive to get the henna and the amla. You need the amla. Must have your amla in there. That's hair, that grows your hair. So those things, if you just have those things in there and you don't put things that are not good for your hair, like if you can't handle coconut oil, don't put it in there. You want to have your olive oil in there, your avocado oils, you know, your base oils and everything, the carrier oils, make sure you get those in there. You got yourself a growth oil. That's good. And you just get a budget that can keep that and they can last. You got a growth oil. The stuff I use is I chose to just really learn all these wonderful things, and I absolutely love it. I want to give you a little update on the oil, though. It is a little harder than the oil that I use with the green packet. You know that green packet of henna that I used before? I think it's more softening, and I like the way it feels better than when I use the straight quality art henna by itself and then put my own mixture. I just feel a difference. But because we're in the winter months, I think I should keep the straight up henna because it gives me the strength. So instead of I don't need this because I really think I'm strengthening my hair regularly with this. I think that if you are not using this as a sealant, but you can't use this, maybe you should start using this at least at the ends for the winter. The only reason I would say to use it is if you're going to use it to strengthen your hair for the winter. I didn't realize how much I was already doing in my regimen. I don't really need these extra products. So I don't really even need this probably. But I want it because I know the Lord said honey for my hair and it's natural and I like the way my hair is feeling. So I say all that to say that the only thing I'm adding to my regimen is the honey mix. And I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing. It is a great regimen. And that's what I'm going to be using for my winter wash and go. And as you can see, I did it for the first time last night again. And look at my hair. It's back to its defined, beautiful look. I don't know if the sun's ruining the ability for you to see how my hair is looking. And it's just, I'm loving it. I'm back to what I did before. But I'm so glad I went through that. It's not easy because you got to walk around with it. I had to go to an audition with hair that I didn't realize, you know, this is the deal. It looked pretty. It was still in the vicinity of beauty, like pretty hair, and only you and I know, y'all and me, we are the only ones that know the difference really, you know. But I felt single strand knots. No, That's how I started this whole thing. Remember how happy I was to get rid of my single strand knots? I ain't going backwards just because shea butter is so wonderful. Next. I told you I'd get rid of stuff if it wasn't working. So anyway, now my next cut, I'll see how many I need to cut, but I'm going to do it every 3 months. They're not that bad. I don't feel it as much right now. But I was feeling more knots in my ends. I never feel knots. Okay. I want to give you another video, and I want to talk to you about more about this. So I want to talk about what I take in, and I want to talk to you about more about wash and goes and how to make sure that you're doing them the proper way so that you're getting those benefits. Because just doing something is not giving you what you think you're doing. So protective styling, I hate to keep talking about it, but haven't you noticed just doing what you think a protective style is, it doesn't mean you're protecting it. Sometimes you're neglecting it. I heard that from another person. I can't remember her name. Anyway, and I love that. You don't want to neglect you don't want a neglecting style. Protective styles that are really neglecting styles, that I'm against. And so we don't want to do that. We want to protect our styles by taking care of our hair. And this is what I believe our wash and goes are. And I want to be more specific on how to do a wash and go where it is becoming a protective style. If you're not doing it properly, it is not a protective style. If you're not braiding your hair properly, it's not a protective style. If you're not putting wigs in right, it's not a protective style. If you're doing anything wrong, you could do the right thing the wrong way, and it's not doing what it's meant to do. And that's my point, okay? I think I've made it myself clear. I think you know. If you didn't see this in the last video, this is how much hair I lost in 1 week of doing the routine with my winter stuff, with the shea and this and the honey and my regular routine, which is not a lot at all. And this is how much I cut off since July, which is not, and that's just my single strand knots, not much at all. That means my routine is excellent, and look how great it looks. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for following me and subscribing, and I'm glad I was able to give you this update. I'm going to give you a part 3 on what I've been taking in and what I think of it, okay? And then I am done for a little while until I finally give you that MSM video and my weed video. But this one, I think it's time for you to know, because we're doing a challenge. I want you to have some options. Please try it the exact way I did, layering it the right way, which was the honey, then this, then the sealant, and then this, then rinse, and then put on your gel. Try it, see if it works for you, okay? It may be perfect for you. If it doesn't work, start to take off one thing at a time if you have the patience, and then you'll begin to see what is working. Otherwise, if you trust that your hair is going to probably do the same and you don't really think you need all that, your growth oil, you can start using that more. And you may not need all these other things, okay? Now, if you have very coarse, thick hair, you may want to add this to it to help it get defined, okay? We'll talk more about that in the next video. Well, keep Jesus in your journey, and if you already have asked Jesus into your heart, then I will see you in the next video. If you have not, this is a great time to ask Jesus in your heart and join the family of Christ. So repeat after me if you are interested. So here we go. Jesus, I love you. Please forgive me of my sins. I turn from my ways. I believe you died on the cross just for me. Please come into my heart and be my Lord and Savior, so I can live forever with you in heaven. Also, please guide me in everything I do in my life, including my hair. Amen. All right, well, I'll see you in the next video, part 3.